basically two guys that absolutely tried to destroy the company, and it was Tito Ortiz and Randy Couture.
Randy Couture comes off as the greatest guy in the world, Captain America. He's the furthest thing from it.
I have no relationship with the UFC.
Bro, Dana White don't like Randy Couture either? Yo, Dana don't like nobody. Dana said if you get in front of his money, it's beef. Dana don't play by his money. Golly.
Guy in the world, Captain America. He's the furthest thing from it.
I have no relationship
That's insane.
with the UFC, and that's largely because of Dana White.
And banned from competition. He wouldn't even allow me to corner my son.
During the fallout, do you feel like that is why they kind of try to remove you from the
Oh
history
no,
books a
he
little bit?
weird.
Oh, absolutely. Haven't been to UFC since 2012.
Oh, wow.
Oh nah, Dana
If you enjoy
weird.
stories about legendary fighters, make sure to hit the
You
like
couldn't
button
corner
and
his
subscribe.
sons?
Now let's step into the world of Randy the Natural.
It's deeper than rap.
Born on June 22nd, 1963 in Everett, Washington,
I was born in Everett, grew up in the Linwood area.
Randy Couture's early life was shaped by sport and competition. His father left when he was young.
Dad wasn't really around and went to Alaska to avoid support and basically kind of hide out.
Leaving his mother to support and raise him throughout his childhood.
My mom raised three of us by herself. I was the only male. So I got the chore list every week and had to make sure all that stuff got done.
From an early age, Randy was drawn to sports.
Soccer was my first sport. She kept us in every sport and every lesson
Played
you
soccer.
could name. Roller skating, tennis. Dream as a kid was to be an Olympic skier. I love skiing. It's my favorite sport. But skiing is very expensive. I was raised in a single parent household. My mom couldn't afford to get me 3 pairs of skis and the lessons.
At age 10, he was introduced to wrestling when his friend took him along to watch his older brother compete.
And they thought it was funny and put Bobby and I in a novice tournament. Neither of us had ever wrestled or trained a day in our lives.
And that moment became Randy's first real step into the sport.
But I wrestled in this tournament. I pinned a kid with a headlock. I got my first bloody nose. I'm like, this was amazing.
At 11, he began wrestling.
That's
quickly finding
crazy.
success as a teenager, winning major school competitions, and developing into a standout athlete.
It wasn't a path then. I think I walked
Bro,
on
it's
that mat to try and
crazy.
get a dad's attention, and it didn't work, but I still found the place. I flourished.
At that stage, he believed wrestling would become his career path.
By the time I was a 9th grader, at the top of the heap in junior high, I won the district meet, which was as high as you could go, and then started all over again as a sophomore in high school. Going into my senior year, I sat down with my mom. I was like, look, Mom, I want to be a state champ this year in wrestling. I had a plan, basically. She got behind me, and she said, go do your thing. I ended up winning the state championship my senior year in 1981.
After graduating high school, he went on to
1981.
attend Washington State University. However, everything changed when his girlfriend told him she was pregnant.
Now, my girlfriend pregnant, had a baby on the way, had to support a family. Couldn't afford to go to college. I'd already sold my car.
She's like, look, I'm having this kid with you or without you. You know, what are we going to do?
At just 18 years old, Randy
She's
chose to
straight
marry
games.
her and step into the role of provider,
Take on the responsibility and step up.
And Ryan, my oldest, was on the way.
which forced him to halt his wrestling ambitions and find a stable income.
Wasn't going to be a deadbeat like my dad. Wow. I want to be part of this kid's life. Now I got to figure out how to support a new family on the way.
A
So
real-
I thought wrestling was done for me.
He enlisted in the U.S. Army, which provided structure and security.
I joined the Army at 19 years old. They're like, hey, we'll give you $5,000 if you enlist as an air traffic controller. Yeah. And I'm like, $5,000? Holy crap. I'm in. Let's do this. I signed up.
And was relocated to Germany.
Dang.
My first duty station was Hanau, West Germany.
While there, he discovered the Army's recreational sports programs,
Little did I know, 5 million soldiers stationed in Central Europe at the peak of the Cold War in the 80s, and wrestling was one of their huge sports programs there.
and joined a freestyle wrestling team.
A lieutenant from a field artillery unit started taking me to this German wrestling club twice a week. Ended up wrestling for that German team.
Learning about Greco-Roman wrestling and freestyle wrestling, which I'd never done in school.
During a tournament, he was accidentally entered into a Greco-Roman event as well.
I signed up for the freestyle because it's most technically related to collegiate wrestling, which is what I'd done in school. And they somehow put me on the Greco bracket as well.
I'm not supposed to be wrestling Greco.
So I just walked off the mat, finished the freestyle match, and they're calling my name back on another mat. And I'm like, how the hell can that be? And I'm like, all right, let's do this.
Went on to compete and won the tournament.
I ended up winning the dang tournament, and I was hooked. It was such a different style. Greco is much more upright posture. It's like judo without the gi. Way more throw-oriented.
Judo without the
arm
gi.
throws, slide-bys. I got the coach's attention by wrestling.
Judo without the gi. So basically, same thing, just without the damn thing on, right?
Such a different style. Greco is much more upright posture. It's like judo without the gi. Way more throw-oriented, arm throws, slide-bys. I got the coach's attention by wrestling the Greco. That ultimately ended up getting me a chance to try out for the All-Army team.
I could see myself making the Olympics, and that's kind of when that dream really started to form.
During his time stationed in Germany, he welcomed his
Damn.
second child.
My second was born in Germany when I was stationed over there.
To pursue his Olympic dream, he moved his family back to America and extended his military service until 1988 in an attempt to qualify for the Seoul Olympics.
I think that definitely puts a strain on any kind of a relationship. If you don't see each other often, you tend to grow apart, grow in different directions.
It was a scary decision with 2 kids and a wife. The Army was a pretty secure place, and I was still chasing that dream.
And I made the team. I wrestled freestyle and Greco. I ended up winning inter-service championships in both styles. That qualified me for the Olympic trials.
However, he ultimately fell short at the Olympic trials.
And basically, I was an alternate on the '88 Olympic team as a soldier.
His performances caught the attention of U.S. colleges who reached out to recruit him.
So now all these college coaches are like, who the hell is that kid?
Like, how do
Where
we
did
miss
he
that?
come
Yeah,
from?
right.
And so the phone started ringing.
Leading Couture to join Oklahoma State University.
Head coach, I'm sure he would have loved
No,
to
he
keep
got
me in the
paid.
Army
He got
and
paid
wrestling for
something.
him, but he was very encouraging. He said, look, you're crazy if you don't take that scholarship and go get your degree for your family at Oklahoma State. It's one of the best schools in the country. A big portion of the freestyle team was literally training on those mats at Oklahoma State, and I'm standing there watching all these guys I knew. I'm like, oh, this is the right place for me, for sure.
I was a 25-year-old freshman at Oklahoma State. He was the old man on the team right out of the gate.
While at Oklahoma State, he balanced returning to his studies with the demands of intense wrestling training.
I rolled in there and said, I don't know what I'm going to do with this degree, but I'm going to study German, foreign language and literature. That was a scary decision for me. By that time, I had 2 kids, and I'm deciding to accept a scholarship and go to college. I haven't been in school for over 6 years. What am I going to do?
He became a 3-time NCAA All-American and 2-time national runner-up.
I think the Army gave me the confidence that I could compete on the international stage. And I think at Oklahoma State, I developed the confidence that I could not just compete, but win at that level, progressively leveling up.
After these achievements, he made another push for the 1992 Olympics, but once again fell short at the trials and was named an alternate. After this setback, he took a job as an assistant coach for the Oregon State wrestling team.
New head coach at Oregon State was looking for an assistant coach that was still competing, and I fit that bill. So he brought me in that summer after my senior year.
It was at this point that Randy's marriage began to fall apart.
I rolled into Oregon State in 1992 that summer, and was at that point that the marriage was really kind of starting to suffer.
While working at the college, he met Trisha, and the two developed a connection.
Met Trish, and that whole relationship kind of took off. That was right there.
His wife took the children and moved to Seattle while he stayed in Oregon with Trisha.
It's hard on my kids, it's hard on everybody, my entire family.
After going through the divorce, he set his sights on the 1996 Olympics, but once again fell short. At that point, Couture found himself at a crossroads, unsure of where his path would lead next. Each year there was a college
Damn, he fell short. Imagine this man working and when it's falling short, bro. You damn near wanna, bro.
With his head coach.
August of '96. I lived in the same apartment complex as some of my athletes, and one of my athletes brought this tape over. Man, you got to check this out. And it was a VHS tape, and it was Don Fry, who I went to college with.
The legend. Once you see the legend, bro, it makes you want to fight somebody. It makes you just want to get in the cage and just do something to somebody.
It's brought this tape over. Man, you got to check this out. And it was a VHS tape. And it was Don Fry, who I went to college with at Oklahoma State. His senior year was my freshman year, and he was fighting on that particular UFC card. So I'm like, holy crap, I know this dude. I went to college with this guy. He's one of my best friends at college. And I watched him fight in a UFC. And I was like, holy crap, that's unbelievable. Hard. And then I saw that big check they handed him after that fight. That got my attention even a little more.
There, Couture met up with a friend who encouraged him to sign up for the UFC.
So we ended up hooking up after just having a beer and talking, and he's like, man, you see that UFC? You see Coleman? You see Fry? And I'm like, yeah, man, I saw that. It was unbelievable.
This is crazy. It's basically all intertwined.
What? It's like, yeah, I know how to get the application, and I'll send it in. I'm like, all right, I didn't even think about it.
With several wrestlers already on the UFC roster, Randy was initially selected as an alternate. He continued competing in wrestling, while also signing up for a Vale Tudo event in Brazil, alongside his Greco-Roman training partner and friend, Dan Henderson.
Dan and Dan were both scheduled to go.
Dan video coming soon, man.
The lightweight division.
3 weeks before the event, he received an unexpected call.
And I get this call from the UFC. Hey, we got a heavyweight tournament coming up in 3 weeks. You're on our alternate list. We're having trouble filling this spot. Then I end up getting UFC 13. So I took that opportunity. You still want to fight? I'm like, goddamn right I do. Yeah. Let's do this.
Couture made his debut in 1997, defeating 2 opponents in one night.
I fought twice that night. It was a heavyweight tournament, UFC 13. They paid me $20,000. You know, $20,000 for one night. I was like, holy cow. Right. What? All right. They paid me $25,000 to be the assistant wrestling coach for the entire year.
Right.
Well, he's done it all in the wrestling room. He's a guy, Jeff, who's got some great credentials and who has been around.
2 huge guys. So I'm like, what did I get myself into?
Submitting Tony Holm in under a minute.
Get up out of here. Come here. You're done.
And he's
He took him down.
The winner of the heavyweight tournament was going to
He
get a
spurred
crack at
him.
the super fight. And the guy who was in the position for the super fights at that time was Fedor Belfort.
Then stopping Stephen Graham later
Fedor
that
is
night
in
to win
every
the
era.
heavyweight tournament.
Randy, you were a late-minute addition to this fight, but I
Look
can
at
tell
Joe
you you're going to be a
Rogan,
great
man.
addition to the world of reality
Look at
combat.
Joe.
And I'd like to present you with this medal symbolizing your great victory. Welcome to the UFC.
They're like, we want you in the super fight against Fedor Belfort in October. And they offered me more money for that fight. And that was just one fight. And I'm like, Coach, I need to go to California. I've got a boxing coach lined up down there. They want me to fight this guy in October. And he's like, hey, what are you going to be? You going to be a coach? You're going to be a fighter?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Coach,
Fighter.
they're paying me more for this one fight than
A
you pay
fighter.
me for the year.
Right.
Forced me to decide.
He carried that momentum into UFC
What?
15, where he was a heavy underdog.
Being the underdog, where nobody has expectations on you, puts you in a great spot to go out and flourish.
This old man, that's what they call me. He's going to get his butt whooped, and it didn't go that way.
And defeated highly touted knockout artist Fedor Belfort.
Vito
via
Belfort
TKO,
is in
earning the
every
title shot.
every
Belfort
era.
was kicking everybody's butt back then.
Right.
But I analyzed him technically,
That's young,
tactically, with that
Vitor.
wrestler's mindset and those eyes.
Yeah.
And said, no, I can beat this guy.
That's it. It's over.
Randy Couture has taken out Fedor Belfort.
A stunning upset.
So now they're like, you're going to get a title shot. My
Was he more
fourth
of a-
fight, my third show, I'm fighting for the world championship.
Wow.
Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Just months later, Couture used his wrestling to control Maurice Smith and win a
Maurice
decision
Smith.
at UFC Japan, capturing the UFC heavyweight championship less than a year into his professional MMA career.
Honeys and money.
Following his rapid rise, Couture's career took an unexpected turn due to
It
contractual disputes.
always.
I had a contract that said they were going to pay me a certain amount for a fight, and they came back and said, look, we can't pay you that much. We'll pay you. They offered me less than a third.
At the time, the UFC was facing a major political backlash,
Well, I think we were all worried the sport was going to die.
with U.S. Senator John McCain famously condemning the sport as human cockfighting.
They started lashing out against the
He was
sport.
The
tripping.
criticism led to pay-per-view providers pulling support, which hurt the promotion financially.
They got us thrown off of the People's Choice, which was the pay-per-view carrier.
As a result, the UFC struggled to meet its contractual obligations and was unable to pay Couture the amount originally agreed in his deal.
And they were struggling. And that caused me problems because I'm their new heavyweight champ. And now I have this contract that we just spent 3 weeks negotiating. They're like, though, we can't pay you that money. I'm like,
Yeah.
we spent 3 weeks negotiating this. I'm ready to fight.
Right.
You got to pay me what's in black and white. Come on. So right away with the old owners, I ended up having contract issues.
In 1998, UFC matchmakers wanted Randy to defend his title against Mark Coleman, but he declined to fight after the promotion failed to honor the terms of his contract.
Came time to fight and defend that title against Mark Coleman.
I was like, no, you chose not to pay me what you're supposed to pay me.
They said, well, you choose not to defend your title. We're going to strip you. We're going to have a heavyweight tournament, crown a new heavyweight champion, and that's what brought Boss Rutan in.
So they stripped him of his belt.
I said, well, the
Damn.
hell with you guys. I'm
The
gonna
legend
focus on
Bass
making the
Rutan
2000
always
Olympic
get.
team.
While preparing for the 2000 Olympic trials,
The legend Bass Ruin, boy. He comes up in he's in everybody's story. He's the legend of
Randy
legends.
traveled to Japan to compete in Vale Tudo, but the night
Vale
didn't go his
Tudo.
way. He was submitted by Ensign Inoue via a first-round armbar. He then signed with Rings Japan and lost his debut there as well. Soon
Damn.
after, the Olympic trials arrived, and for the fourth time, Randy fell short of making the team. Now, 37 years old, he shifted his full focus to mixed martial arts. Later in 2000, he entered the Rings
hold on.
King of
He was
5,
how
and
old?
for the fourth time, Randy fell short of making the team. Now, 37 years old, he shifted his full
37?
focus to mixed martial arts. Later in 2000, he entered the Rings King of Kings tournament, winning 2 fights in one night, which set him up for the finals in early 2001. However, before he could fully prepare, he received an unexpected call from the UFC.
The UFC started calling me because Kevin was the heavyweight champ at
Kevin
that time.
Randleman.
And Kevin was a very boisterous personality. They weren't getting along so great. They called me and said, hey, we want you to come back and fight for the heavyweight championship. Are you okay with that? I'd love to do that.
Rest in
But
peace,
I'm
Kevin
already
Randleman,
fought in the
man.
first half of this KOK tournament, and that was a $200,000 purse. You have to let me compete in that
Finish
KOK
that.
final in January. And they said,
200K?
okay.
On November 17th, 2000, at UFC 28, Randy Couture challenged champion Kevin Randleman.
Walking through the gates for the first time since December 1997.
After
That's
weathering
crazy.
early takedowns, Couture
Ugh.
turned the fight in the third round, securing mount and winning by TKO to reclaim the UFC heavyweight title at 37 years old.
It is over! It is over!
Randy Couture is the heavyweight champion again. How satisfying is it to be UFC heavyweight champion once again?
It feels terrific.
Couture still had
feels
unfinished
terrific.
business in Japan. In
that
February
money at, though?
2001, he returned to rings for the King of Kings finals, defeating Tsuyoshi Kosaka by decision before facing Valentine Overeem in the semifinal. Shooting for a takedown, he was caught in a guillotine choke and forced to tap in under a minute.
Damn.
Ending his tournament run as Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira went on to win the title. After that setback, Couture shifted his full focus back to the UFC. Back in Oregon,
Damn.
Couture and Dan Henderson began training together and eventually founded Performance Quest.
Me and Danny had been trying to run a gym, Performance Quest. The gym wasn't making money. We were in arrears with a bunch of rent. We realized very quickly we had no clue how to run a gym.
Later, Matt Lindland returned to Oregon after the 2000 Olympics, opened a car dealership,
And there's a van conversion center in the back of this car dealership.
and offered Couture and Henderson a place to train there.
And they're like, man, why don't you move the mats over here?
The group rebranded and formed what became known as Team Quest.
Me, Danny, Henderson, and Matt started Team Quest.
And we had a ridiculous room back then. It really was. You could have sold popcorn to those workouts.
Chris Lieben, Ed Herman.
Dennis Davis, Evan Tanner, Benji Raddick, starting to call names of guys that aren't even here with us.
All these really, really good guys.
Around this time, Couture and Henderson were looking for new management.
Danny and I were fighting for the Raw team, Real American Wrestling under Rico
That's
Cipriani.
crazy.
Things had kind of broke down, so I was looking for new management.
And before Zuffa took over the UFC, they even approached Dana White about representing them.
That was the first time I met Dana White. I was talking to him about managing me because Dana was managing Chuck and Tito at that time.
However, Dana was unable to manage Randy.
He called me after we met, said, hey, I couldn't manage you anyway. There's something coming down the pike. It's going to be big. You're going to want to pay attention.
So he instead signed with Battle Management.
I ended up signing with Peter Levin and Jeremy Lappin from Battle Management. And that's when Dana White and company bought the brand from SCG in 2001.
Dana said, let me hold
and
that.
he's the new president.
Dana said, let
Back
me
in the
hold
UFC
that, man.
fold, Couture's second reign as heavyweight champion began in a new era.
Dana White, president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Dana, congratulations on your first show. That's got to feel good.
Basically, what we want to do is we want to make this the Super Bowl of mixed martial arts, and we want to bring back the best fighters in the world.
The post-2001 Zuffa era of the UFC.
We were pretty much at odds from the start.
With the takeover, fighters were required to sign new contracts with Zuffa.
I had just signed a new management.
Peter and Jeremy were from Hollywood. They educated me immediately on this 17-page contract that this new Zuffa company wants me to sign as their heavyweight champion. And I'm like, why would we sign this?
Randy and his management disagreed with parts of the deal.
And they educated me on what an ancillary right was and what that was worth.
Particularly clauses that required him to give up his ancillary rights.
Like, there's no way you should sign this.
And what is it?
Ancillary rights is my ability to write a book, be in a movie, be in a video game, things that generate revenue.
Had I signed away my ancillary rights in those categories, I would
hell.
have asked Dana White's permission.
I hope them contracts ain't still the same. Is them contracts still the same? Somebody let me know in the comments. Is the contract still the same? Because, oh my good Lord. What?
To do any of that.
Basically signed the rights in all those categories away to them.
And I held their feet to the fire as their heavyweight champ. I'm not going to sign this unless you eliminate this stuff and put this stuff in, and basically got them to adjust my contract.
This created a rift between Randy Couture and the new UFC management, one that would continue for years.
That put me at odds with the Fertittas and Dana right from the jump, and I never really recovered.
For Randy's first title defense, the UFC
They were trying.
matched
They
him
be
up against
trying.
Pedro
Doing
Hiso,
it.
who had recently signed a new long-term deal with the promotion.
I think they would have been happier if they hadn't absorbed my contract. I was a 40-something-year-old heavyweight champion. They didn't think I was very marketable. And they were constantly trying to get rid of me, trying to get me beat by Pedro Hiso, sign him to a 9-fight deal.
In a grueling 5-round battle, both men absorbed heavy damage. Couture, nearly 38, relied on his wrestling and conditioning, while Hiso punished him with leg kicks and strikes. The judges awarded Couture a close, unanimous decision, though many felt Hiso had done enough to win, leading the UFC to book an immediate rematch.
The UFC didn't want Randy as their champion. They were looking to get Randy beat.
Their rematch at UFC 34
course.
left no controversy. Couture dominated the second fight, stopping Hiso by TKO in the third round and firmly establishing himself as the top heavyweight. With 2 successful title defenses,
Damn.
Captain America was riding high.
Would have liked to have gotten rid of me, but couldn't.
But a new generation of heavyweights was emerging, and tougher challenges were ahead. On March 22, 2002, Couture faced young powerhouse Josh Barnett at UFC 36.
Barnett.
In round 2 of that title fight, Barnett managed to take Randy down and unload with heavy strikes, and the fight was stopped. Josh Barnett won by TKO to become the new champion. It was a passing of the torch, but one marred by yet another controversy. Barnett tested positive for anabolic steroids after the fight and was stripped of the title. For Couture, it was a loss nonetheless. His heavyweight belt was gone. Couture was going to be reinstated.
How? How though? I thought they were supposed to give it back to the champion if he do. Hold on, how does that work? I thought they were supposed to give it back to the champion.
But he refused and wanted to fight for the belt.
I'm not just going to take the title back. I'll fight for it.
So they said, okay, we want you to fight Rico Rodriguez for the vacant title.
Just months later, on September 27, 2002, he fought Rico Rodriguez at UFC 39 for the now vacant championship. Couture, at 39 years old, started strong, but fatigue set in, and in the 5th round, Rodriguez took him down and landed a crushing elbow to Randy's eye, breaking his orbital bone.
Ooh.
Couture tapped due to the injury.
And then I was winning that fight and caught that elbow in the 5th round and fractured my orbit. Probably the most serious injury I sustained in the 14 years that I was fighting.
The first time a UFC fight had ever ended in the 5th round. After consecutive stoppage losses, the legend's future was uncertain.
Looked like I was coming down the other side. I'd lost twice. I had one more fight on my contract. They'd set me up against Andre, who was on a tear at that time. It was a fair chance that wasn't going to go my way, and they'd finally be done with me.
And then Andre broke his hand 3 weeks before that fight was supposed to happen.
I had also agreed with my wife at the time, Trish, that she had wanted a kid. She would have been due that same night that I was supposed to fight Arlovsky.
Rather than retire, Couture made a bold decision. He would drop down a weight class to face faster but smaller opponents.
I threw my hat in the ring at light heavyweight. Said, hey, you know, I can make light heavyweight, fight guys my own size if that was an opportunity.
During this time, Dana White had scheduled Tito Ortiz to face Chuck Liddell, but Ortiz refused to take the fight, leaving the promotion scrambling for a replacement. With the event in jeopardy, Dana reached out to Couture and offered him the spot.
We want to strip Tito. You mentioned you'd be willing to come down to light heavyweight. You want to fight Chuck for their interim title.
Right. You're coming off 2 losses. We want to get rid of you. We think Chuck's going to knock you out.
Yeah.
By early 2003, Couture dropped to 205 pounds in search of a fresh start at light heavyweight. At 39, he debuted against Chuck Liddell at UFC 43 for the interim title and shocked the MMA world, outworking him before finishing the fight by TKO in the 3rd round.
Word.
Couture is going to stop Chuck Liddell.
To become the first fighter in UFC history to win championships in 2 weight classes.
I don't remember that.
Here. I like being the underdog. It suits me well.
Word, bro. He's damn near 50. Beating up young. That's crazy. That's insane, bro. Randy Couture had a
I don't know
run.
if you're in the house, baby, but if you want this belt, you're gonna have to come in here and take it.
Winning the championship placed heavy strain on his second marriage to Tricia, as the demands of travel, training, and promotion pulled him away from home and ultimately led to the relationship breaking down.
Bro, what
Now
the
she's going to
no?
be
He gotta make money.
raising this kid a lot. I'm going to be traveling and doing all the crap I'd been doing for the 8 years. That's not what she wanted, and that was the end of my marriage.
Just 3 months later, he faced Tito Ortiz in a title unification bout at
Golly,
UFC
son.
44, using his wrestling to control the fight and earned a unanimous decision.
Tito was prepared. He trained really hard, and Randy Couture was spanking him. I was like, oh, is he tapping? I'm like, no, he's spanking him. I'm like, oh my God.
And the only thing I had was his feet, and his butt was sitting right there. And I have no idea why that light bulb went off, but I'm like, give him a spanking.
Becoming the undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion at 40 years old.
And has shown
crazy.
no slowdown at all whatsoever because of age. He's a very intimidating figure.
Couture's first light heavyweight title
Yo,
defense.
light heavyweight champ and heavyweight champ. Double champ. That's crazy, bro. He beat Tito. He beat everybody.
Came in a long-awaited rematch with Vitor Belfort at UFC 46 in 2004. But the fight ended in bizarre fashion when a glancing punch opened a severe cut on Randy's eyelid, forcing a doctor stoppage just 49 seconds in and costing him the belt.
Oh my God. They have stopped the fight. What a huge letdown.
He reclaimed it later that year at UFC 49, dominating Belfort before another doctor stoppage handed him the TKO win and the title once again at age 41.
It's all over. That's it. Randy Couture
Bro.
is once again the light heavyweight champion of the world.
He one of the
41,
goats, bro.
Couture had become a two-time light heavyweight champ.
41 years old, still incredibly dominant. You got your belt back now.
It feels awesome.
By 2005, the UFC was struggling financially under Zuffa, reportedly millions in debt and still fighting for mainstream acceptance. In an effort to save the promotion, they launched The Ultimate Fighter.
About 40 million in the hole here. We're spending 11 million to put this show on Spike TV, and if this doesn't change it, I think we're out.
A reality series designed to bring new fans to the sport.
I divested in Team Quest and moved to Vegas. I moved to Vegas in 05 when the first season of The Ultimate Fighter started airing on Spike. I was going through a divorce, kind of needed to get out of Oregon.
Look at Forrest Griffin face.
Reset, basically.
Randy Couture and Chuck Liddell were chosen as rival coaches for the first season, with their feud serving as the centerpiece.
I was happy to be involved. We weren't sure how it was going to go, if it was going to be successful, if it was going to get them where they needed to be, and obviously it changed it for everybody. It was a huge success.
The show's success proved pivotal, drawing new viewers, boosting pay-per-view interest, and helping pull the UFC back from the brink of collapse.
And that one fight, Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner, everybody and their brother was calling their neighbor like, dude, you got to turn this on. Literally was the fight of the decade for a reason.
The Stephen Bonner versus Forrest Griffin fight became a turning point for the UFC, pushing the promotion into the mainstream and revitalizing its popularity. That momentum helped set up the highly anticipated bout between Couture and Liddell for the light heavyweight championship later that year. While training in Las Vegas, he met his future partner Kim Calderman, who was also a fighter and going through her own relationship struggles at the time.
I was single for about 6 months. He was going through a separation. It's kind of how the conversation got started, both of us venting to each other.
The two quickly connected, and that friendship soon developed into a relationship. In early 2005, Couture faced Chuck Liddell in a highly anticipated rematch at UFC 52, but this time Liddell kept the fight standing and knocked him out in the first round.
Threw a big left hook and missed, and that put me right in line. I've been hit the only time I've ever been knocked out.
Handing Randy the first KO loss of his career and taking the title.
Damn.
Couture returned later that year at UFC 54, submitting Mike Van Arsdale with an anaconda choke to remain a top contender and set up a trilogy bout. The two met again at UFC 57 in February 2006, where Liddell stopped him.
He made me chase him. He didn't plant his feet and dare you to come in like he used to do.
After the fight, Couture announced his retirement inside the octagon, bringing his run to an emotional close.
Damn.
This has been an amazing
I don't
journey
get why
for me.
Dana hated him so
This is the
bad.
last time you're going to see these gloves and these shorts in this octagon. I'm retiring tonight. That's it for me. I'm ready to do something else. I've got a great family, a great girlfriend, Kim Holderman. I feel blessed to have been able to come in here and compete. Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest champions in UFC history, Randy the Natural Couture.
I retired for a little while there because of the divorce and just not feeling like myself.
And later that year, he was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame.
Damn,
as
later
its
that
fourth
year?
member.
He inducted
Stop
me.
playing, man. Pioneer. He got in a year. Stop, bro. That's some go. He wasn't the greatest, bro. He wasn't the GOAT. You can't, bro. He won championships at 41, man.
The Hall of Fame there. They're probably regretting that now.
Around this time, he married his girlfriend, Kim Calderman. With Kim by his side, they opened a gym in Las Vegas called Extreme Couture.
We started that gym in 07.
Which quickly became one of the most well-known MMA training facilities in the city.
It was pretty successful almost right away.
Couture stayed active after retirement as a commentator and TV personality, coaching on The Ultimate Fighter and appearing on shows like Pros vs. Joes. However, retirement didn't last long. By early 2007, the competitive itch had returned. At the time, Tim Sylvia was the reigning champion and had just defeated Jeff Monson by unanimous decision.
I was retired, and I started texting Dana. We were on good terms still then. At that stage, we got along. That fight was like watching paint dry. I could beat either one of those guys. Dana didn't text me back. He called me immediately. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm serious. That fight was signed 3 weeks after that night.
Wow.
Couture signed a new multi-fight deal with the UFC and made the surprising decision to move back up to heavyweight, where reigning champion Tim Sylvia stood at 6 feet 8 inches, 263 pounds, and was 13 years younger. On March 3rd, 2007 in Columbus, Ohio, the 43-year-old returned to the octagon to a thunderous reception and delivered one of the most iconic performances of his career, dropping Sylvia early and controlling the fight for 5 rounds to win a clear unanimous decision and become UFC heavyweight champion for a third time.
He's the GOAT, bro. He's the greatest UFC fighter of all time. He the greatest warrior, martial artist. Bro, he's like almost 50. Granted, Sylvia is not the best contender, granted, but that's insane. And then got off the couch and was like, Dana, bro, I can beat dude. It's crazy. That's like Phillip Rivers getting up off the couch like, yeah, I think I can throw for a little. I think it's a little easy. That's crazy.
UFC heavyweight champion.
making him the oldest fighter in history to win a UFC title.
Not bad for an old man.
So many people doubted you. You're gonna have a lot of new people coming to your gym tonight.
He defended the belt later that year at UFC 74 against Gabriel Gonzaga. Despite suffering a broken arm during the fight, Couture relied on clinch work, wrestling, and strikes to wear Gonzaga down and secure a third-round TKO, proving once again that he remained a dominant force in the heavyweight division.
That's crazy.
Just when everything seemed to be at its peak, Couture's career took another dramatic turn, this time outside the cage. He pushed heavily for a super fight with Fedor Emelianenko.
Most of the rankings had him as the...
Fedor, I ain't even gonna lie. Fedor and Bazoon, I think all the goats of fighting, period, bro. They get mentioned in every video I watch, no matter who it is. Fedor and Baz, bro. But bro, this is crazy. The fact he won, bro. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. He top 4, top 5 UFC all-time goats. Bro, he literally is the champion of all champions. Am I tripping?
Outside the cage, he pushed heavily for a super fight with Fedor Emelianenko.
Most of the rankings had him as the #1 ranked guy in the world. He was fighting for pride and had pretty much beaten everybody at that time. And I was ranked #2 as the heavyweight champion in the UFC. And I'm like, well, that's the guy I want to fight. If you want to be the best in the world, you got to beat the best in the world.
There's only really one fight that makes a lot of sense, and I would have hoped that that could happen in the UFC with Fedor. I don't think that's going to happen.
But negotiations fell apart when M1 Global insisted on co-promotion terms the UFC refused to accept.
No, I'm under a UFC contract for a minimum of 9 more months. So unless that fight happens in the UFC, it's not going to happen anywhere else for at least 9 months.
Wanting the fight to happen elsewhere, Couture even considered vacating the title.
The Fedor fight goes away because Fedor chooses to sign with another organization, which at my stage in my career is the only fight that really makes sense. And so it makes more sense for me to resign and walk away.
In October 2007, despite still being heavyweight champion and having fights left on his deal, he resigned.
UFC heavyweight champion Randy the Natural Couture has suddenly resigned from the organization.
I get no respect from the organization, and I'm tired of swimming upstream. I tendered my resignation after having a face-to-face meeting with Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta, where I laid all this out in person 2.5 weeks before I left for South Africa. So I gave them a chance to respond. I got no response.
They didn't address any of it. So called a press conference at the gym, blew the whole thing out of the water. The independent contractors agreements, all the way they're controlling these athletes and the issues with our sport at that time.
Now, in a letter to UFC President Dana White, Couture cited the fact that the inability for the UFC to land Pride heavyweight champion Fedor Emelianenko played a prominent role in his decision. Couture leaves 2 contracted fights on the table, relinquishes his UFC heavyweight championship belt, and also will no longer be a part of the on-air announcing crew for the UFC pay-per-view.
He also spoke openly about pay discrepancies, believing other fighters were earning more despite him holding the belt.
People are going to ask questions of, oh, you signed a contract 8 months ago. You seemed perfectly happy with that contract then. No, I wasn't happy with that contract then. I asked for a signing bonus. I knew a lot of other athletes were getting signing bonuses. The straw that forced me to make a decision was knowing what a lot of other guys were being compensated with bonuses and so forth, and the offer to Fedor. He was being offered more in signing bonus than I'd ever been paid for a fight. And that was like the final slap in the face. They pull another guy in from another organization because they want him, and they pay him coming in more than you've ever been paid. Are you going to feel a little insulted and hurt about that?
Fedor draw though.
11 years busting your ass. That was kind of the final straw for me. I said, you know what? They just don't appreciate me.
That's when I'm supposed to leave for this big movie in South Africa, Scorpion King. And then left for South Africa with a new phone number so nobody could reach me.
The UFC's response was immediate.
Randy Couture's situation is, he's saying, I was told I had the second best deal in the UFC, Chuck Liddell being the #1. But what he's pissed off about is he's hearing that Fedor, Vanderlei Silva, Matt Hughes, and all these other guys are making more money than him. So what's the answer here? Are we not treating guys right? Or are we paying guys too much? Some guys think we're paying other guys too much.
Dana White refused to recognize the resignation, insisting Couture remained under contract. And
Dana, he saying that he said you paying a dude a signing bonus he ain't never got paid ever in his life. Come on, Dana, you funny, man. You funny, Dana.
heavyweight champion.
He belongs to you. Oh, he definitely belongs to me. He's under contract with me, no doubt about it. He just signed a new contract 8 months ago.
The promotion accused him of being influenced by Hollywood ambitions.
The things that he said and the approach that he's taken and the way that he's done it, that surprised me. It was done very Hollywood, the way this thing was done. It's pretty shitty.
And legal action followed to prevent him from fighting for other organizations, leading to a prolonged public dispute.
The thing that upsets me the most is that when he said Lorenzo and I lied to him, I called him twice and left messages for him. He's in South Africa shooting a movie. No, he hasn't called me back. So like I said, this is typical Hollywood.
No, he said he told you before. He already said he changed number to South Africa, so you just basically try to put two things together and lied.
Would he just play this?
Randy ended a lengthy legal battle with the UFC in an attempt to make the Fedor fight happen, but the promotion responded aggressively with lawsuits.
And they started filing injunctions and trying to keep me from going anywhere else and fighting.
To do that fight.
Spent a lot of my own money with legal.
Because they want to make money off that fight.
Separate of the UFC.
The dispute became financially draining,
Obviously.
tying him up in court and limiting his options.
At some point, I think they just tried to bury me in legal.
I ended up spending about $500,000 of my own money trying to find a way to make that fight happen.
With legal challenges even extending into his employment contract, areas that went beyond the original resignation itself.
The lawsuit has to do actually with my employment contract, which was pretty shaky. They don't really have any merit. They're citing that by me going to the IFL and HDNet, cornering my fighters, that I somehow breached my contract in promoting those other events. But I've been doing that my whole career, so I don't know why it's an issue now.
By 2008, the standoff began to ease. Unable to compete elsewhere, Couture entered negotiations with the UFC.
In my 40s, like, man, the clock's ticking. I don't have all that much time. That window's closing very, very quickly for me. So I had to make a rational decision at some point. Look, this fight's not going to happen. There's just no way.
And on September 2nd, 2008, the two sides reached a new agreement.
That's what brought me back to the UFC and put me in the fight with Brock Lesnar.
What about Brock intrigued you as a matchup, or did you just recognize this will do big business? This could be a big payday.
It didn't intrigue me at all. The company, it intrigued the UFC.
Is that ultimately why
I'm about to say, I know it did.
And took the Brock Lesnar fight just because you were bleeding money and couldn't keep
Absolutely.
He signed a 3-fight deal and prepared for a return to the octagon, ending nearly a year of uncertainty.
When that whole lawsuit went down, when he lied about his numbers and lied about a lot of things, went into court and it didn't work out for him, that's when I really got to know him. And when that whole thing went down.
That's when we really got to know your goof ass. I mean, you don't really care about your fighters, bro. I can just let him go and get his money, bro. You want to hold nigga down because you want to be money hungry, nigga.
I was the guy that he was attacking. When we went in that courtroom, and this guy that he's playing out to be this horrible human being, if I'm this horrible, despicable human being that he speaks about, and all these things, and the way that he was treated and all this stuff, when he was in town and he had just had his brand new baby, would you drop your brand new baby off at that guy's house to watch your brand new baby and leave him there overnight?
Yo, Dana is like... Now, I'm not a hater on Dana. Like, I think Dana cool. He a good businessman, a great businessman, actually, a genius. But a people person and a good, like, this nigga just be, like,
And come pick him up the next day? I don't know. What would you say?
Randy returned on November 15th, 2008 at UFC 91 in Las Vegas, defending his heavyweight title against Brock Lesnar in a classic clash of experience versus size and power. He held his own early with clinch work and striking, but in the second round, Lesnar landed a heavy right hand and followed with hammer fist to secure a TKO, ending Couture's reign. After the Lesnar fight, his personal life with Kim began to break down, and the two ultimately divorced in 2009.
Bro, that's the third time. I'm telling you, I fucking think I nigga feelings just flow in a wind. Randy Couture, man, you already know what's going. This man lived 3 lives, man. 3 separate lives, bro. He lived a great life though. 3 separate lives. He's a legend.
In August 2009, he faced Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira at UFC 102 in Portland in a long-awaited dream matchup. The two veterans delivered a hard-fought battle, with Nogueira scoring a knockdown and controlling key moments to win a unanimous decision. The fight earned Fight of the Night honors, and even at 46, Couture remained determined to keep competing. Weeks later, Couture dropped back to light heavyweight, defeating Brandon Vera by decision at UFC 105 in Manchester to become the oldest fighter to win a UFC bout at 46.
I mean, Randy Couture has shown time and time again that he has dissolved all the limits, all the age limits that we put in combat athletes. And he's one of the very oldest in the world competing.
By this stage, much of the bad blood between Dana White and Randy appeared to be behind them.
I don't think we're really cherishing Randy and respecting him the way that we should. Couture's still doing it now. He's beating up 22-year-olds at his age and still competing at this level. People aren't going to really realize how great this guy was and what he accomplished until he's gone.
In 2010, he beat fellow Hall of Famer Mark Coleman at UFC 109 via rear naked
Mark
choke.
Coleman v.
After
coming
defeating
soon.
Coleman, Couture took part in a high-profile crossover bout against boxing champion James Toney at UFC
James
118
Toney.
in 2010.
What? I just dropped a James Toney V, and y'all was in the comment talks when you know he fought in the UFC. He fought Randy Couture.
Big fan of it. So here I am to rectify it.
Many saw it as a publicity stunt.
James, a good friend of yours,
I can
David
see some
Mays,
leg
says
kicks
you're
coming.
delusional for fighting in MMA.
He's gay.
But Couture approached it seriously.
So he showed up to the cage that night with those
He gonna grab
ankle
straight
braces
legs.
on, and I got the biggest smile on my face because I knew damn well at that moment that low single is going to work. He just
Yeah, he going straight grabbing. I already knew it. Or leg kick. Straight grabbing leg kick. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, that's cool. I'm not mad at that.
just gave me a grip.
Taking Toney down immediately, advancing to mount, and finishing with an arm triangle.
I ain't gonna lie though, in the streets, I'm gonna keep it 100. In the street, bro, that takedown stuff, bro, you gonna get kicked in the head, I'm telling you. Or you gonna get bit. Cause in the streets, I can pick some up, start stabbing you when you try. You probably put me in submission. You're not putting me in submission in the streets. I'm sorry. It's not the UFC. Okay? Say that.
Take him down. I'm not going to stand around and try and box with this guy. That's silly.
The dominant win reinforced the effectiveness of MMA against a pure boxing specialist.
Kind of want James to have the complete mixed martial arts experience.
He's an incredible human being. He's been a great ambassador for the sport. He's been incredible for the brand, and I love Randy Couture.
Couture spoke with Dana about stepping away after one final fight, as ongoing injuries had taken their toll, and he was ready to retire.
And the biggest issue I have is my neck. You know, that's what ultimately led to me retiring. And I don't want to have a neck surgery. Everybody I know that's had a fusion is still in pain.
At UFC 129 in 2011,
He's
he
still
faced Lyoto
fighting!
Machida in what he confirmed would be his last fight. In the second round, Machida landed a jumping front kick knockout.
Hey, the Karate Kid. Y'all know we did a video on the Karate Kid. He's different. He done front kick Vitor. He front kick Randy Couture. He done front kick everybody in the face. The Karate Kid. Y'all go watch that video, man. But hey, loyal to Machito, bro. Y'all didn't see this man feet coming?
Ending the bout in dramatic fashion. Couture retired at 47, leaving behind a legacy as a multi-division champion, UFC Hall of Famer, and one of the most respected fighters in MMA history.
One of the greats of the sport of mixed martial arts, arguably the greatest of all time, heavyweight champion, light heavyweight champion. This man is an inspiration to us all.
Retirement didn't slow Randy Couture down. Even during his fighting years, he had begun building a presence in Hollywood.
It wasn't something I aspired to. Athletics opened that door. They called the UFC for Cradle to the Grave in the early 2000s. And they're like, hey, we're looking for some authentic cage fighters for this movie. So me, Chuck, and Tito all got the call. And I was immediately intrigued by it. So I went and started taking some acting classes. So I started in stunts and then started getting acting jobs.
His breakout role came in 2010 when he starred as Toll Road in The Expendables. The film's success led to multiple sequels, helping establish Couture as one of the few MMA fighters to successfully transition into mainstream action cinema. During this period, he also approached Dana White about securing a role as a studio analyst for UFC broadcast on Fox between 2011 and 2013. However, controversy followed Couture again in 2013. He signed with Spike TV and Bellator, the UFC's biggest rival at the time.
How did this happen? Because he was on Fox, last month. So how did he sign a deal with Spike? Where did things go wrong?
Which reignited tensions with Dana White.
God damn. It was around Christmas time, and his lawyer sends in a letter and cancels, bails on the last show that he's doing for us. After they begged me for a fucking show. What the hell's going on here? Start digging around. I find out that he's talking about doing a deal with Bellator and Spike. I call his lawyer. Then I called Randy. Called him over and over and over again. He wouldn't even answer his phone. 3 hours later, he texts me. What's up, boss? I hear you're flipping out. I did not sign a deal with Spike or Bellator, but I'm talking to 2 other networks right now. I said, if you tell me that you did not bail on my last fucking fight and go do a deal with them, I don't give a shit what network you sign with. I did not sign a deal with them. Stop worrying, relax, and have a great Christmas. We'll talk later. To this fucking day, sitting right here, right now, we still have not talked.
White publicly accused Couture of betraying the company and claimed he had been misled about the deal.
Doesn't even finish his contract, and he bails on the contract and goes and does this. I am happy that he went there. I never have to deal with Randy Couture ever again. Well, I can tell you this, Randy Couture comes off as the greatest guy in the world, Captain America. He's the furthest thing from it, and I'm happy to not be in business with him anymore. Now I don't ever have to be in business with him ever again. I knew the whole time that he was doing the deal. Even when I was talking to him and he was lying to me, not even to my face, not even on the phone, but through text. Thought I'd be a man about it and tell you to your face. It's not Randy Couture.
The fallout was significant, and it led Dana White to cut ties with Couture entirely, banning him from UFC-related activities, including attending events or working with the promotion in any capacity.
When I signed the TV deal with Spike TV to do both scripted and unscripted television, he kind of went off the reservation and kind of banned me and exiled me at that time. In his mind, that was me being, going to the enemy.
Bro, hold on. I understand you don't like him because he didn't talk to you, he lied to you, but banning him? That's too much power, gang. That's too much power for him being banning a person because that's crazy.
Something, I don't know. He tried to villainize me and make me out to be the villain.
Don't I know it?
Couture, I don't respect him at all.
The dispute escalated publicly, even affecting his ability to corner his son, Ryan Couture, during his UFC stint.
I called Ryan Couture and I said, Ryan, I need you to understand this. Me and your dad are not good. Me and your dad are never.
That ain't got nothing to do.
Ever again.
That ain't got nothing to do with him cornering his son at a UFC event, gang, because you and the president ain't good. What the fuck? Like, what is you talking about? Me and your father ain't good. What I got to do with him cornering me at a UFC event, Dana? That's you and him problem. Not a me and my cornerman problem.
Because I walk this fucking planet. If you want to leave the UFC, and because I don't want him, he's not cornering him. Randy Couture can't buy a ticket to this motherfucking thing.
I'm banned from competition. He wouldn't even allow me to corner my son. So
weirdo. That's too much power, man.
Kind of one step over the line.
If you want me to release you from your contract so that you could go do a deal with Bellator and have your dad maybe work with him and come up and do whatever, I would do that for you too.
Despite the drama, Ryan went on to compete twice in the UFC before moving on to other promotions, and eventually finishing his career in Bellator in 2018.
Do you ever want to fight Dana White?
He might be the one guy I have a little animosity toward.
Despite the highs and lows of his personal life, including multiple marriages and divorce,
those were failures in my mind. I've been divorced 3 times. It's taken a toll on my personal life.
Yeah.
There's where the regrets are.
Boy had 3 lives.
And there are some there.
Randy remained committed to his children and deeply connected to the sport.
As an athlete, you have to kind of be selfish sometimes and do the things you need to do to have this straight so you can walk out there and do what you're trained to do.
In recent years, he has worked as a commentator for the Professional Fighters League while continuing to build Extreme Couture.
How many fighters do you have at that gym right now?
About 60 pro fighters. We have about 650 members.
Now largely operated by his son, Ryan.
In 2020, I signed the gym over to Ryan. Yeah. Ryan wanted to retire from fighting and start his family and kind of settle into that part of his life. And I knew at some point that would be his.
In 2019, he even suffered a heart attack.
Babe, something ain't right. This ache won't go away. Let's walk over to the emergency room. They hooked me up to the EKG. Immediately just freak out, start cutting my clothes off, getting me on a gurney. I'm having a full-blown heart attack.
Fucking crazy.
And then put a stent in there. It's not a lifestyle issue, it's a genetic issue. You have polycythemia, you have very thick blood.
Couture was back in the gym within weeks, once again showing that the toughness and resilience that defined his fighting career extends far beyond the octagon. Randy, the Natural Couture's career spanned the formative years of modern mixed martial arts. He retired with a record of 19-11, but statistics barely capture his influence.
Yeah, that shit
six-time UFC champion across heavyweight and light heavyweight, a tournament winner, and the first fighter to win titles in 2 divisions. Couture
and also, he was wrestling and dominating people high school and college.
Competed in 16 UFC title fights and repeatedly reclaimed belts others thought he'd lost for good.
Tried to keep it simple, just be myself. I didn't create a persona. I didn't talk smack. I didn't do any of those things that Dana likes. Yeah, again, another reason why he didn't really care for me.
His longevity was unprecedented, winning championships in his 40s and redefining what was possible for aging fighters.
The oldest athlete to ever win a UFC fight at 47, tied for the most fights in UFC, first ever double champ, light heavyweight, career speaks for itself.
Beyond the accolades, it was his mindset that set him apart and the ability to reinvent himself.
This is crazy.
You know,
I never
people use
fucking
their
knew all
family
that.
circumstances as an excuse to make piss poor choices and do a lot of bad things. In my heart, I felt like it wasn't good enough for my own dad. He couldn't even come around. I was gonna prove him wrong and use that as an excuse to excel.
His 2007 dispute with the UFC brought early attention to fighter pay and contractual power.
The people who made this sport what it is, the ones who were fighting when there was no money at all in random places, aren't honored like they should be honored. If you butt heads with these guys, you're essentially forgotten about. You're erased from the history books.
During the fallout, do you feel like that is why they kind of try to remove you from the history books a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. Haven't been to UFC since 2012.
Oh, wow. Would you do it all over again?
I would, and I don't think I'd change a thing.
His story remains one of the most remarkable in MMA history, a competitor who evolved with the sport and left it stronger than he found it.
If you find that thing you're passionate about, don't let go of that. Chase it with everything that you have.
That's crazy, bro. The UFC, they know how to delete a motherfucker. The UFC know how to delete, man. I'm telling you, they do it all the time, son. That's crazy. But Dana White got a lot of power, boy. Dana White can do stuff like that when you got a lot of power. But look, man, like, comment, subscribe, man. Let me know in the comments y'all want me to react to next, discover next, any more legends. But this is insane. Like, it's crazy that Dana White, but you getting from the Dana White money? No mercy. He at your throat, bro. But hey, I'm gonna see y'all in the next video, man. Y'all already know what's going on, man. I appreciate everybody who support the vids, man. Y'all already